Nightwing, real name Dick Grayson, was the first ever Robin, the original superhero sidekick. He of course went on to become a fantastic hero in his own right, proving just how capable he is by even temporarily taking on the role of Batman, wearing the cape and cowl during Bruce Wayne's absence. Now, I have already covered Batman's training routine in another video, but Nightwing is a very different hero. He was a very different Batman, so his training routine will be very different as well. In today's video, we will be looking into a likely training routine and diet plan for Nightwing. Stick around to the very end for a full routine that you can even try out yourself. Let's get into it.
What are you?
I'm Batman.
I'm Batman. Fear. I'm vengeance.
So the first and most obvious thing to talk about here is Dick Grayson's athleticism. He is a world-class acrobat. The way he can move is not something that can be figured out in a few hours of training. It is years and years of practice. His training would have to revolve not only around the specifics of acrobatics and the techniques involved with that, but also a heavy focus on building the strength, flexibility, and explosive power needed to pull off those techniques. All of this while spending a considerable amount of time on martial arts and weapons training so that he can keep himself and others safe while out on the streets. However, having said that, his mastery of acrobatics meant that he took to martial arts like it was second nature, picking it up considerably faster than the average human would. He of course is also basically a genius and a world-class detective, but we won't be going over how to train those things in this video, because I'm certainly no genius or world-class detective, but martial arts and fitness, that's something I know a thing or two about. So before we think about the specifics of a training plan, what exactly are we trying to achieve to be able to do the things that Nightwing does? As I said, it's very different to Batman. We essentially need to try and build a body that is fast, strong, lean, flexible, resilient, and explosive. Not an easy thing to do, and certainly not something that happens overnight. One of the things that Nightwing has over other non-powered heroes in the DC universe is his speed. It's what separates him from even Batman. So none of our training will really be focused around gaining muscle mass. It will all be based around performance, and fueling the training necessary for that performance. Now, the way I'm going to structure this routine is quite simple. We will break it down into different areas that we need to focus on. There will be 4 different areas, meaning an absolute minimum of 4 days of training per week. But before we get into the actual training routine, we need to of course have some kind of base. Not everyone is going to be able to handle what Nightwing does, especially not straight off the bat, pun intended. So with that being said, I would recommend a solid 12 weeks training of following a standard fitness program, something that has a good foundation in both strength training and cardiovascular fitness. Maybe a typical push-pull leg split with 1 or 2 cardio sessions per week would be a great way to build a base for our Nightwing training. The other thing that I would suggest that we work on before attempting to train like the first Robin is some resilience, building up strength in our ligaments and tendons to help prevent injury. Let's not forget that Dick Grayson has been a high-level acrobat for many years before he even began training with Batman, so this is something that has been built into him from a very young age. You can find a basic injury prevention program online with ease. I need to emphasize just how important this part is. Tendons take much longer to respond to training than muscles do. The danger here being that our muscles could run too far ahead of our tendons, which can lead to a serious injury, so take this part very seriously. So what are the areas of training that we'll be breaking this program down into? Strength and power. This is important not only for the explosive movements required for the acrobatics, but also for the fights that he takes part in and day out. There will be a big focus on leg strength and power. You're not pulling off any flips and jumps with weak legs. Cardiovascular endurance. The same can be said for this one. What good are you in a fight if you're tired after 20 seconds? Plus running and jumping from rooftop to rooftop takes some endurance. Flexibility and mobility. These are essential for the way that Nightwing moves. You look at any of his impressive flips and acrobatics, his body is clearly extremely mobile and flexible. But there is also a fine balance that needs to be achieved. Our training routine is going to be put into a 5-day split, some days with multiple sessions in one day. The 2 rest days can be put in any way you'd like, whether it be on the weekend or split up through the week. The focus will be on leg strength and power, upper body strength through gymnastic style training, martial arts training, and mobility work. So here we go. Day 1, 5 minutes of foam rolling. Dynamic stretching, upward kicks, sideways kicks, and crescent kicks. 4 sets of 10 jump squats. This should be incrementally increased each time you do a different session. Make the height higher and higher. Barbell glute bridges 3x10, 40 to 50% 1 rep max. Squat or leg presses 3x3 at 90% of the 1 rep max. weighted step-ups or lunges 2x8, squat tuck jumps 3x10 to absolute max height, kettlebell swings 2x30, sprints to finish, and then a small stretch. Day 2. Day 2's training will have a focus on pushing exercise, utilising as much bodyweight work and gymnastic style training as we can. 1 minute planche progressions ×3. 3x8 military press, stopping just short of failure. Handstand push-ups 3x5, balance against the wall if needed. Ring dips 3 times failure, then a drop set going from weighted dips to bodyweight dips, and then another drop set from clapping push-ups to push-ups. Again finish with a stretch. In the evening of Day 2's training there will be MMA training, techniques and drills. Day 3. Day 3 will have a lot of bodyweight and gymnastic style training but will be based more around the pull-in movements. Muscle ups / muscle up attempts 3x6. One-armed chin-ups / attempts 3x6. Rope climbs for 1 minute ×2. Bicep curls 3x8. Rows 3x8. 10 minutes rock climbing if possible. Drop setting pull-ups to failure with negative pull-ups to failure. 2 times 1 minute hangs. And a 20-minute yoga style stretch. Day 4. The 4th day will aim to develop a powerful core that will help with balance, coordination and torque, as well as countless other benefits. Start with a foam roll for 5 minutes. 3x6 straight leg deadlifts, 3 hanging leg raises to failure, 3 sets of V-sits to failure, window wipers 3 sets of 10, side oblique raises, 3 sets of 10 Supermans, bicycle sit-ups to failure, 5 sets of 3 minutes on the heavy bag, 5 sets of 2 minutes shadowboxing, and then in evening training you'll have MMA sparring rounds. Our 5th and final day will be based around some cardiovascular endurance and weapons training. A 5 to 10k run, practice with the screamer sticks, 5 sets of 3 minutes of bag work utilising kicks and punches, 5 times 3 minutes of shadow boxing, finish with a stretch. And that is our basic training routine to train like Nightwing. Of course there would likely be some time put aside to work on the specific acrobatics, but this is something that Dick learned from a very young age and just refined during his time with Batman. And while I'm qualified to give you advice on martial arts and fitness training, I don't want to be telling people how to become an acrobat. The other thing to point out is, at this stage in his crime-fighting career, Dick likely spends far less time sparring than he would in his early days of training. He's likely to be fighting criminals day and night most days, and being such a far superior martial artist to the average human, he's in a position to essentially treat that as practice. He doesn't really need to spar so much, as we do not have the ability to fight criminals every day, or at least I don't. Honestly. We may want to include some extra martial arts sessions in with this program, depending on where you are in your training. Now, what about his diet? Well, to be honest, I would likely say it's extremely similar to what Batman is consuming, possibly with slightly less caloric input. So be sure to check out my Batman training routine and diet plan if you want more details on that. And that's pretty much it, my friends. I'm confident that if you were to strictly follow this training routine and diet plan, you will see results rather quickly. You'll certainly be bringing yourself closer to Nightwing. I really hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a great day, and don't forget to return to the Batcave for more Bat content.
I'm Batman. I'm Batman. Fear and vengeance.